Yo, what is going on? PartTimerZack here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about internal engine. We're going to be going through the guide. So the time is finally here for us to jump in here. Now, I will say that I am pretty sick right now, so I'm going to be trying to say this as quickly and simply as I can and trying to make sure that you guys understand and be as simple as I can with it. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be about the banner, mainly because a lot of people are getting confused on alpha and stuff like that, and they were pulling for the wrong unit. I just kind of want to clear that up real quickly, just in case this is the first video you watch before you watch our summoning video. But essentially, this is going to be 100% S rank and 60 pulls. It's going to be a lower pity with a lower percentage. This one right here is going to be a special event one, and essentially this is going to be 100 pity, but you're going to have a higher chance of getting her. So if you're a gambler, essentially, I guess you can go for this one. But a lot of you are going to be wanting to grab this one because it's a lot easier to get to 60 pity than it is to get to 100 pity. And honestly, in my opinion, it's not worth a higher percentage on this 100 pity. It's just more like kind of an easier thing to go through if you just go to the pity on the 60 pulls. That's just the bread and butter that I wanted to give you guys. Just in case this is the first video you watch, I just want to give that information. So talking about internal engine, we're going to be going from left to right and kind of explaining everything. So the first and foremost is going to be the story. This is going to be chapter 10. You can play chapter 10 no matter where you're at in the story while it's during the event. So if you're on chapter 2, you can play chapter 10 if you want to, but after the event, you are going to need to go through each and every chapter before that to get to chapter 10. So for example, if you're on chapter 2, you will have to play all the way up until chapter 9 to play on chapter 10 once the event is cleared. Interlude, this is going to be where you're able to grind some shards and stuff like that, go through some of the memories. This one's going to be for A Bianca, not for S Bianca, so don't get confused on that. You can only grind A shards like Sophia, and you can do her story as well. So this is one way to get Sophia for free if you want to grind her with your stamina, but she is also in the shop, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Eternal Throne. So Eternal Throne is going to be a little bit more of a complicated system. We're going to talk about that here in a couple of seconds. So the next thing is going to be this mode. So this is essentially kind of like a roguelike where you're able to kind of make decisions based on some different things. And we're going to be able to pick a couple different formations and stuff like that. I want to dedicate the own video to it just because there's a lot of information to pack in here. And I just don't want to kind of try to squeeze it in here and try to speed run it. So I'm going to be going through a different video in case you guys are wondering essentially how to run through this most efficiently. And we're going to be doing its own thing. This is going to be your Tower of Babel. This doesn't unlock immediately. You can see that it's actually on the 19th. I do have it unlocked on my side because I'm playing on the server that Hero Games was able to give me, which is why I'm able to provide this information to you. So another thing is this full speed ahead here. You can see that it actually doesn't unlock until November 1st. This is essentially going to be the one and done thing where you jump in there and you grab some different currencies for your first time clears and stuff like that. You probably won't be focusing too much on it after that, which is why it has a short little window here. So talking about your Merrick exchange, this is going to be something that you kind of build up as you go through some different rewards. And it is just like the Fallen Star thing where it's just kind of a milestone shop essentially. So once I get to 35, I'm able to come in here and claim the reward. 40, you know, same thing all the way up until 100. And I'm able to just go in here and claim things based on this. So it's not a spendable currency. It's not like I need to spend 30 to get it. It just means that I need to get to like 35, 40 or whatever to be able to come in here and claim it. Now, talking about the shop, it's going to be pretty quick because I do have it on the XL and it's going to be broken down for all the prices and stuff. But you can see that you have your major stuff in here: cogs, weapon enhancers, overclock material. So when you first start out, it's going to be carriage 1, and then you're going to be able to progress through this. It is very simple and it happens pretty quickly. So if you see the fact that it's locked, you know, carriage 2, carriage 3, carriage 4, don't be discouraged. It unlocks pretty quickly as you kind of progress through the main story here on the Internal Throne. So after you get to a certain point, you can see that you have your Hensons. You have another way to get Sophia. I really would rather go through this way. I would not use it as the interlude. I would mainly grab it from here because you're able to grind the currency from the main stages and then just use it however you see fit and then be able to get Sophia for free that way. You have your Hensons in here. And just kind of talking real quickly about Hensons, I want to kind of go more into this when we talk about S Bianca. But what to grind for right now is essentially the first 4 slots for Henson are a lot better than the 4 slots for the Conarina. So hopefully I'm saying that name correctly. Let me go in here and kind of just show you what I'm talking about. So if you want to min-max her, Catalina, I can't say her name correctly apparently, but she's going to be 146 and 6 crit. You can see right there the HP is 146, the crit is 6, and then you go to Henson, you can see that her HP is 149 and her crit is going to be 6. So this is true from 1, 2, and 3 slots. And then the reason that I say you might as well just get the 4th is because I would rather just put Katarina in the 5 and 6 slot. It just makes it a little bit easier. But if you already have her on your memories, just make sure to kind of put it in where you can kind of get it. So essentially, if you already have like a 4-star Katarina, let me just pull her up real quick if I can find her. So if you have a 4-star Katarina, you can see 1322 defense and then Henson 1322. So there's not much of a difference. You can just fill her in wherever you have her. If you already have her, you essentially want to get her a 2 set, and that is basically it. You fill in the Henson with the other slot. So whether it be 4, 5, or 6, it doesn't really matter. And then essentially what you want to grind for when it comes to your Hensons is you want to get 12 in total because you want to be able to get the resonance for your Hensons. You also kind of want to work on your Conolinas. I can't really say her name, but you want to also work on her as well. But this is going to be the grindable in the shop. And like I said, I do have all the currencies and stuff on the Excel, so I'm going to be going more in detail of exactly what you can expect when we go into it and how much it's going to cost and stuff like that. So talking about the Eternal Throne here, there's going to be kind of a quick process. So each one of these you kind of progress through. You have to get to a certain level. So you can see unlock authority at level 15. You can see I'm level 10. So the thing is, each one of these has their own XP. You can see each level, each time that you go to one of these, it resets. So if I get to 400, it resets down to 0. I got to go back to 420 and then so on and so forth until I can get to, I think it's max 20 will unlock all your stages for you. But you can see that you got a daily limit here of 600. So you can only do so many runs to get to that daily limit, and you will not start to go through the XP. So it is kind of worth it to minimize some of the runs that you're kind of doing. I know a lot of people have like 1,000 stamina kind of ready to go, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because it is more efficient essentially to get your authority level up, and you only have so many runs, which that is also going to be on our Excel here in a minute. Now, running through just kind of the story course here, it's going to be your main story where you're able to watch the story. Then you have your grindable currency event stage where you're able to get the currency for the stage or for the shop. Then you're able to get a magnetic ticket. So essentially what this will do is unlock a different stage for you, which is going to be up here, which we'll talk about here in a second. The drop rate for this is pretty random. I would say it's a really low percentage because I couldn't find an average on it, and it doesn't say anywhere what the percentage is, but I would just say that it's pretty low because out of all the runs that I've been able to kind of do, I have not gotten very many of these, which I'll explain what they do here in a second. Now down below, you can see that you actually have some different rewards, and each one of them are based on authority level. That's why it's kind of important to work on your authority level. They do fluctuate a little bit. Sometimes they give you tickets, but they also give you those tokens that you're able to do in the milestone shop. And then sometimes they give you like supply ticket or supply stuff for the shop. And then, you know, the BC as well. So just make sure you're kind of paying attention to your authority level as you're progressing through this. And then the third level here is going to be your memory, but you can see that you do not get any of the currency for doing this. You only have a chance to get the ticket, which I already said that is kind of a low percentage here. And then you have your percentage for your 6-star memory, and then 100% chance of getting it after 8 times. So now you're probably wondering, what do those tickets do and why should I care about them? Because you can actually switch to Abyss and play this. So yes, you do get another reward here. It's based on your authority level as well. And you can see that this is actually a guaranteed 6-star memory first time run. So the thing is, you do not get a percentage. You just have to run this once, and it only costs 4 tickets and no stamina, meaning that once you have your tickets, you can run it. You don't have to worry about your stamina, and you're guaranteed 1 6-star at least. And then you get some other things as well. It's not just the 6-star. You actually get like 5 stars and 4 stars and stuff like that. And then you're able to kind of go through there. So another thing to kind of take note about the way that this kind of works on Eternal Throne is you are able to kind of streamline this a little bit. I think a lot of you guys are going to be really happy with this. So if you click on this, you can see multi-challenge. I know a lot of you may have kind of like eyed it. So essentially, if I go in here and I go to multi-challenge, I can max it out to whatever I can run it. So let's just say I'm going to go ahead for the sake of this and just use these. Doesn't matter. This isn't my actual account, guys, so no worries here. And then I'm going to go into multi-challenge. I'm going to max it out at 4. It's going to cost 120 stamina, but I'm going to get 4 times the reward. Now, with that being said, each time that you go into a new level or a new attempt, essentially, you run through another wave of enemies. So if you have 1, you go through 1 wave of enemy. If you go 2, you run through 2 waves of enemies, all the way up to 4 waves of enemies. That is the max, no matter what your stamina is. You can see that it only maxes out at 120, and you can keep doing it. So you get 50 of the authority level per stage, and you get maxed out at 60. So now I'm going to bring down the Excel sheet to give you kind of an idea of what all that means and exactly how we can break it down mathematically. So talking about the overall info here, we're just going to be breaking down stage cost is going to be 30 per. The average currency that I was able to find is about 100. So it doesn't matter if you are on this stage doing this one, or if you're on this stage doing this one. It was about 95 to 105. So I just kind of put it right there in the middle of 100. And if you did it daily, essentially with the 160, that's what I personally use because that's my max stamina. I did that divided by 30, which is the average cost of the stage. And then I did it times the average currency. I'm able to get 533 a day. Now that will fluctuate, like I said, depending on if you get 95 or 105 and anywhere in between. Magnetic ticket, like I said, it drops randomly. It does have a low percentage rate. And then this authority level, you do get 50 EXP per thing, but you have a daily limit of 600, meaning that you can only do 12 runs. Now, I know you're kind of eyeballing the fact that, hey, you probably only have about 5 runs a day. So this is actually going to cost 360 stamina per day. That's essentially the most you can use if you want to just stay within that daily limit. So if you are using those packs, just keep that in mind, that even though you can kind of go above that, you could definitely go to like 400 and run it, and you can get the currency. You are not going to be contributing after a certain point on those EXPs for your authority. So just keep that in mind as you're going. Now, I did go ahead and break down each cost for, this is shop cost for each one of these stuff. So if you kind of want to pause it right quick or take a screenshot, do whatever you want to kind of do. This is going to be the EXP pod. This is going to be skill points and the cog pats and all that kind of stuff. And then it gives you an idea. Daily amount here is going to be what you can actually grind for daily, meaning that if you just dedicated a single entire day to saying you wanted EXP pods, you could see that you actually take the daily amount, and I just divided it by the cost. And you can see that I can get 19 a day or 7 a day or whatever. Some of these obviously are like Henson's. You're going to be able to get 0 a day because it's 850. And then some of these other ones are going to be kind of broken down because you can only get like 500 once a day and stuff like that. So talking about the Henson memory costs in general. So what I did is how much it costs in the shop, how much stamina that's going to cost, and how many days it's going to take to be able to do that. So essentially, if you're going for a 12 set here, it's going to cost 10,200 of the currency. That's going to cost about 3,060 for the stamina cost. And it's going to take you about 19 days to be able to get all of that done. Now, this is just taking into consideration that you are just doing the straight up like 160, right? So that's not taking into consideration if you have packs that are boosting up that amount. This is just taking in the fact that you're just doing the max amount that you have every single day of 160 and not taking any of those packs. So obviously this day will fluctuate a little bit depending if you're using packs or BC or whatever for your stamina. That's just kind of what I want to do at base level for anybody who's not willing to use the packs or doesn't want to use stamina or doesn't want to use BC for your stamina. That's just something to kind of take in mind. And then again, this is just going to be the fact that it's days taken. Now the Henson is actually going to be something that you can grind for Chrome. I do recommend doing a 4 set for him because he's going to be kind of a pseudo DPS for Lightning Team, and he's going to be right next after the Espianca. So it is kind of like one of those things, if you want to, while you have the time to grab Henson, you can definitely do so. He does use other mixture of memories, but it's kind of one of those things that kind of help his build out if you want to use him as like a second DPS when you're kind of swapping off on your Baraka, or you can even grab a 2 set. But I went ahead and did the math here. It's going to cost 3,400. Stamina cost is going to be 1020. It's going to take you about 6 days. And then the total set's essentially going to be this 1360. It's going to take 4,080. And then it's going to cost you 26 days if you want to do all of that. Now, taking into consideration of all the other stuff, this is just something to kind of keep in mind that there are other things that you might want to go for, mats and stuff like that. So this is just going to be the base cost on what you kind of want to get for when it comes to memories and how many days that's going to take in total. Again, this is just based on 160 being the max stamina, but that is pretty much all I wanted to kind of share with you guys. Like I said, if you want to take a screenshot or whatever, I'll try to find a way to share this so you guys can just pull it up. You don't have to keep rewatching the video and stuff like that. But this is going to be the breakdown of everything else. This event is pretty straightforward. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of flexibility, I guess, between the stages. You're really just going to be doing the daily grind of whatever the middle stage is for your currency. If you want to go for the memories here, I really don't recommend doing that because honestly, it's more kind of like productive essentially to grab the magnetic tickets whenever you can get them from the regular drops and then jump in here and get your guaranteed 6-star because this does not cost stamina. But if you are feeling lucky or maybe you want to waste a little bit of stamina, I guess you can go in here, but I just don't really recommend it. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it. I know this is kind of a longer video, so I appreciate you guys sticking through it. Make sure to like the video if you guys are enjoying the content. I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.